Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Foundry. I'm JB here with Slykiko, and today we are going to review episode 1 of The Last of Us show on HBO Max, titled When You're Lost in the Darkness. And boy, what a premiere. It was, I think, an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm totally down. I dug the shit out of that very first episode.
I don't know how much further I could dig into this one. This one was pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was quite good. I was very happy about it. I was really curious how they were going to do that intro, because something with me, like I've actually never like been super fond of the Last of Us games. I think they're just there. I never had that like solid attachment that everyone else had. Like I only played the very first one for the first time a couple years ago. But like before that, like people like have idolized Joel and Ellie for like almost a decade.
Yeah. I was late to The Last of Us 1 as well. Not as late as you. I didn't play it until like my senior year of high school because an ex of mine was like, oh, play this game. And I was like, holy shit, this is good.
Yeah.
But still, I haven't been like worshiping it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I still appreciate the heck out of the story. It's amazing. Like some of the best narrative storytelling in video games of all time, which I think it resonates with a lot of people as well, which is the relationship of Joel and Ellie. And I was really curious how they're going to go about with that. One thing I always really enjoyed about The Last of Us is the very, like, how fast you connect with Joel and how empathetic, how you feel for him, and the intro of that game. And I was really curious if they're going to be able to reproduce it and have the same, I guess, feeling, like, of just fucking sadness, and you feel hurt, just like you feel his hurt at the end of that intro, you know? Yeah, we'll be dropping spoilers for this episode, like we always do here on the Foundry. But yeah, like I felt that same like kind of that crushing when Sarah died, where you start to well up a little bit. Like very good, very good.
They nailed it. It hurt, man. And they really like fleshed out her character a lot more than the game did.
Yeah, which quite good.
I actually, that was one of the changes that I was like, I do not mind this. It, if anything, it just stung more. Because I saw this girl, I was like, oh, like, look, she went out of her way, and, like, you saw, like, why she got the watch, etc. And then by the end of it all, you're like, God damn it.
Something that I really like personally, and, like, apocalypse stories or something like that, I like, it's calm before the storm. And then you hear some sirens go by. And then you're like, huh, that's weird. And then you see more sirens go by, and you're like, now that's really weird. And when you see that, like, that kind of calm before the storm, where you see it rumbling a little bit, I really like that when I see that in media. Like, Fear the Walking Dead, the Walking Dead, the Telltale's game. Like, I really, really like that stuff when you see, like, that, the just kind of, like, all the signs are there of something going down and happening. Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting that so 20 years takes place after the outbreak. So the intro's in 2003, and I'm assuming the rest of the show will take place in 2023. So I figured like that's a kind of an interesting comparison to see like, oh, it's real life versus this. Like this is how it compares. Like literally just a parallel, of the two. Pedro Pascal still looks pretty young. Is he supposed to be like almost 60?
I think he's like 54. Yeah.
I thought he was like mid 30s in the intro, and then he's
and then the 20 years. Yeah, he's like 50 mid 50s in the
he looks good. Yeah, he looks pretty good for mid 50s.
I'd say so. Yeah. Tess ain't holding up so well, but he is.
I've actually never been a huge fan of Tess in the game either.
No, I'm not a big fan of Tess. No.
I don't know. She seems like I hate to sound like an ass. She seems grimy, like kind of dirty.
Dude, this version of her looks very like auto mechanic vibes. So yeah, she's ultimate grimy here.
Yeah.
But like in the game, I get that she's supposed to be more like sexualized, sure. But like even then, she just seems, I don't know, more ferocious, a little bit younger. Here, she just genuinely seems like some angry old grimy bat. Yeah.
I do like her character though. I think it was very well. I didn't have any problem with it. Same actress from one of my favorite shows, Mindhunter, which she plays like a calm, well collected, like from a therapist from a university who's a psychologist, and it's just like a huge like whoa, like that's the last time I saw you on screen, and now you're doing this stuff. Like okay, insane. I like the story. I did like the change up a little bit. It's the relationship with Ellie and the Fireflies. How with the Robert thing, I thought that was kind of cool too. How do you think the rest of the show is gonna like go with the action though, Sly?
That's a concern of mine, the action.
Do
I
you
don't want them to. What's up?
I was gonna say, do you think that they could skip out on some of it because it's the drama's so good?
I think they can skip out on more of the stealth than the action, but you're right. I do think they can substitute some of the raw emotions for the action. So in the case of like once we get to maybe like mid game, I know that there's a lot of shit that hits the fan around like the sewer area. But then again, like the emotions in that section are running high.
Yeah.
And then I've also thought about, you know, in the case of eventually where we like see more so Ellie's POV at, you know, a certain point in the story, I'm wondering if they're gonna really like dial into the action there, or if they're gonna stick with like Joel's POV. Like, I'm curious. I'm curious because you know, as the game progresses, it gets a lot grittier.
For sure. I'm very excited about, like, I like Joel. I like his character. I like Pedro Pascal. I like the look for him. I'm like, this is good. Like this.
Oh, they nailed the look.
I love it.
They nailed the look.
And I almost agree 100% with Ellie's character and Bella Ramsey. I just have a weird tick about Bella Ramsey's face. It's just kind of off-putting. Sounds weird to like dish out on a child, but it's like
She's a grown adult now, isn't she?
Oh, is she?
She's
I don't
a
know.
grown adult,
She just looks like a spade. She looks like a fucking spade.
I think my issue with her is not just the looks. Like, you're right. I look at her and I can't take her seriously. But I genuinely think some of the lines they're giving her, which, like, they're Ellie lines. Like, when I think of The Last of Us, like, I think of what a bitch and a half Ellie is to deal with.
Like, she's a fucking runt.
She's a pain in the ass. She absolutely is a runt. This one, it's like she's trying to be annoying. I think they just gave her the wrong lines. And even in her best attempts to deliver them well, coming off the way she does, they're falling short. She's not, in my opinion, a highlight of the first episode. Hopefully that changes because she's literally 50% of the story of the show. Right. But, you know, just from the beginning, Joel's the one carrying, and then so are the side characters. Like Marlene, they literally brought back the game actress. Yeah. She's fire.
Loved it.
Nailed it.
Loved it.
Love her.
Big fan of that. Yeah, a lot of the supporting characters really made the very like Apocalypse very convincing.
Hell yeah! I'm a fan of Tommy. Tommy's great.
Yeah, Tommy is pretty good.
Tommy's banging, man.
I don't think I've ever seen him in anything yet. Yeah, I didn't recognize his actor. But yeah, he was very good too. The voice is like spot on too. Is he?
I know. I was kind of like
thinking about. I was like, is that the actual fucking like guy?
No, if only.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, but he was quite good. His name is Gabriel Luna. How you look at that?
Yep, Gabriel Luna. Huh.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we didn't see any no zombies, no clickers really. No. Kind of got a little glimpse of Outbreak stuff in the very beginning.
Just like from like day one, like Outbreak. I mean, technically, we got a little like something that wasn't in the game with the whole neighbor thing.
Yeah, I love that, dude.
I love it too, but I'm gonna be honest. This is a big gripe of mine when it comes to just like zombie films in general. I'm not a big fan of, what do you call it, that like cliche of them like turning their heads all abruptly like dogs. I don't know, it's weird to me. I feel like it's an overdone trope in cinema.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was like I saw specifically with the grandma, right? And I was like, hey, she obviously might have some kind of disease or like some Parkinson's shit to where she's like, she does not move. And it's like the abrupt was like working, I don't know, something working through her system and shit like that, creating these spasms with her muscle. That's what I was thinking in my head.
For her, I can excuse it because of that reason. But later on, like when they're in the alleyway with like the other ones, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a running theme. And that's a concern of mine because I'm like, dude, the cordyceps, like when you look at the runners in the game, they're pretty fluid. They're almost indistinguishable from just regular dudes with the exception of they look like they're like itching for like crack.
Right.
So I don't know.
If it's little things, like I'm not gonna be too picky about it. Like I'm completely fine with them taking like a lot of like creative like decisions and just kind of going about their way as long as they stay true, you know, to a degree for sure. And I've enjoyed like quite a bit of everything just flowed together so well. I was really happy about it. I was like really just kind of antsy the entire time. I'm like, I want to see how they do it. That's what the biggest thing is. Like, I know what happens. I just want to see how the show does it.
Yeah, I want to see how they interpret this story. Yeah.
And I don't get a lot of people I've seen on Twitter and just people saying, like, in social media in general, they're like, oh, I don't want to watch it because I already know what happens. I'm like, well, like, that's okay. Are you gonna play a World War II game? Like, I mean, like, it's just fucking. It's its own.
That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
It's its own thing. Like, you give it a chance. It's great acting. Yeah. It's great acting.
Absolutely.
It's really
I'm
good.
curious to see if how they're gonna derive things from the game, like the crafting, or when he discovers a new weapon. These are things like these are little details that like they make sense in a game, but I want to see if they try to interpret that into the show because it's a cute little devils in the details. But at the same time, it also adds to that whole element of this is a survival horror. Like he's literally endure and survive. You know, you find things and you make them into yours.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the biggest things is like when you're talking about like, yo, he goes like collecting different items and better gear and shit. Because at some point, like in the game, there's a very distinguished part where everything falls apart and they lose all of that, and that's when you feel really like fucked. Yeah. Like that's how you really feel that desperation, and like you are completely like you hit rock bottom. And that's what's really important is that if they show those things, that way rock bottom actually feels like genuine rock bottom. You know. That's one thing. Yeah.
Any big complaints about the episode?
No, not really.
Ooh.
Not really. No. I'm trying to think. Really. Yeah, I love Sarah. Petra Pascal was great. Just the time when she said, "I sell drugs, hardcore drugs." I'm like, it's so good.
Honestly, they like shot for shot like the entire intro sequence to the T. They added in a few of their own like creative elements, but damn, some of like the like actual like cinematic angles and then just like the scenery, they copied it exactly. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Big fan of this.
But no, in terms of complaints, I do have one gripe about the episode, like one actual thing that bothers me because it sets the stage for the whole show.
Hit it. What's up?
I do not like his reaction at the end of the episode when he loses his shit on that soldier.
Do you divulge a little bit? What do you mean by that?
I got pissed off because they're going the PTSD route, which I'm not trying to dismiss that, you know, he's totally understandable, you know, to have that feeling after what happened to his daughter. What bothers me is I do not want him to show any sentiments towards this girl because that lessens the blow of them developing a relationship in the story. He literally, up until like, I don't know, 25, 30% of the game, doesn't really give a shit about her. Yeah. And like right now, he's literally like putting himself in his shoes like, this reminds me of my daughter. Like, I did not like that. I'm like,
he's just, well, I thought mainly like instead of the daughter thing, I thought it was like what triggered it like is the flashlight in his face with a guard like telling him like with a gun. Like threat.
That's what I'm hoping. That's all I'm hoping. I hope it was just like a one-off, and we don't see this happen again until maybe like the very end of the game, end of the show. But I do not want to see him just like continue to spiral like this because I'm like, okay, like, where's the bond? You're just immediately connected, like.
Yeah, I mean, you want to feel it, and it wants to be organic.
Exactly. I want it to come naturally,
not because they told you so.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm a big fan. You want to give us some number ratings? I mean, like, I don't have a lot of gripes or anything. Do you want to talk about the virus a little bit? There's a lot of behind the scenes like discussion online to people kind of like giving out little hints of what's going on. Oh yeah, the first actual opening scene was like an interview in the late '60s, right? With,
I love
some doctors talking.
Yeah,
like Jonathan from the fucking Mummy. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, he's just being like, oh yeah, so you have this disease, yeah, and it's just like. It's supposed to be on like a talk show. Can't tell if it's like a night or like morning one, but either way, you know, most talk shows, they're lighthearted. And here's this doctor talking about like mushrooms.
Wiping out the human race with it.
And how essentially, yeah, he's like, so long story short, if they evolve due to things like, you know, the Earth getting hotter, which, you know, clue in, that's like a climate change reference.
Yep.
Like, he literally makes the entire audience and the host kind of like gulp and just think to themselves like, oh my god.
Like, uncomfy.
I mean, the guy literally was like, we're gonna take a short break. It's
Yeah.
like, I honestly, like, I kind of got chills during that segment because I was like, this is such a bleak topic, and it actually like crossed my mind, like, fuck, if that happened, yeah, we're screwed.
He's like,
Ooh.
yep, there is no cure, there's no nothing, and there is no stopping it. And I was like, well, shit.
You're just a husk getting used about, and not gonna let you die. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's okay.
Thanks, thumbs up for that. What a great episode of Jimmy Fallon. No, that was a cool little tidbit there.
Agreed.
The one part at the very end of when they rushed to the ruin spot when they are like escaping and leaving the zone, I thought that was just kind of like, all right, like you guys could have been a little bit more creative than that. I felt like
Agreed.
I felt like a very breeze over, and like they're just kind of like, oh, doop doop, we're walking around. You didn't see this guy with a big flashlight pissing. Yeah, they got very lucky that it was his buddy that he was selling drugs to.
His buddy wasn't so lucky. He got his fucking face caved in, dude.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, dude, he just went fucking berserk on him. They showed him like the Kimbo Slice, and Joel just went ham on him.
Kimbo
He
Slice.
felt those knuckles. But let's give out a rating for this. I think we just have overwhelmingly positive things to say about it, and we just kind of hope that this isn't like they're not showing signs of kind of forced feeling and kind of feeding us on what we're supposed to think about characters and how we're supposed to feel about characters. That stuff should come organically, not that way. But you're absolutely right about that. But I wanna give this one a 9.5 because I'm
Wow.
like, yeah, I really liked it. I was really vibing with it.
That is, I can respect it. I can respect it given what you've said. I'm gonna have to give it an 8. Not because of like only the negatives I have to say about the episode, but because
Right.
I'm thinking in my mind, all things considered, it should get better than this.
Mm-hmm.
This is not bad by any means. This was an exceptional intro. I mean, they've already confirmed they renewed it for season 2. Like, the show had a successful premiere, and it's probably the best adaptation any video game has on the live screen, with the exception of maybe Sonic.
Yeah.
Like, this one did very well.
You're like, season
And-
2's coming out, so it definitely can get worse.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there is a bad show.
There's a bottom, and we'll show you.
They want to split it into 2 seasons, but anyway, I give it an 8 because I'm firmly believing that halfway through this season, if they pace things right and they develop characters really well, there's no reason why there can't be consecutive 9s and 10s, because this is a story that it's meant to hit you.
Yeah.
It is meant to hit you.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to it with emotions. You're watching it through with your old friend. I'm watching it through with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm really excited because I'm a fan of the game. You're a fan of the game. I'm really excited to see what they say about it as well. Which at some point we should kind of have we should compare and contrast notes on how they feel about it. Those filthy casuals.
I agree.
I think that'd be a
Exactly,
fun
yeah.
little dynamic.
It's uneducated swine and their opinions on this.
Those they got those soft hands, haven't touched a controller a day in their fucking lives, Sly.
You don't have the LBRB calluses, huh?
Soft hands.
Soft hands.
We're gonna give this we think 8.5 for
8.5. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's our Foundry official review score. We're gonna kind of take it slow with these episodes because personally, I'm trying to enjoy it. I'm not in a big rush watching it, and you know what? It's good stuff to watch. It's good stuff to watch. We recommend it. We might see if we can get some other slogans in on these reviews or anything, but we shall see you guys later on episode 2 of more of The Last of Us. But until then, bye everybody.
Bye.